Hey YouTube, I'm here today to talk about the new iMac. Well, it's new to me. Not too long ago I bought a new computer and I had needed one for a while and I was not really sure what I wanted. I was doing a whole ton of research for a little while there. I was going to get a PC, so I was looking at some offerings from Dell and from HP and all over, and I was very open-minded, whatever was cool, and I looked around for quite a while, and I just needed a general purpose computer, something that, could do everything, a little bit of everything. That's what I was going to be doing. I still like playing some games, but I needed a general purpose computer. Mine had gotten very old, and it was time to get something new. And I knew I wanted uh, something that could game, but something that could do, check my email, browse the web, do everything. And I'd never owned an Apple product before. So I was very interested, and I had checked them out, but I thought they were way too expensive. So I was looking into some all-in-ones. I thought they were really cool. I saw some Dells, and they were pretty comparable in price. And then I looked at HP, and they didn't have the specs, but they still some, pretty cool equipment over there too. And then I decided that that wasn't going to game. They didn't have the greatest chipsets. They were pretty much just good for web browsing. So I was going to get a tower, a PC. And then I did want to get something with a great looking display. I was headed towards getting a Dell Ultra Sharp, which you're going to spend, $400 or $500 on the monitor alone. So if you get a decently equipped tower with a good monitor, you're still already over $1,000 right there. So when I saw how much I was going to spend just because I wanted a nice monitor, I started looking at Mac again. And once I had started really looking at the lineup, I wasn't sure if I wanted a laptop or a desktop. So I ended up going back and forth, looking around, and I had decided I had an office, I have a desk. There's no reason for me to get a laptop. I have no need for the portability. I was more worried about the performance, something that was going to last a few years and be a quality machine. And I do like their products. I think they make some really cool stuff. I don't think you're really paying for the name Apple so much as you're just paying extra for an aluminum case and a little extra work on the design. If that's something you're willing to pay for, I think it's a good deal. If it's not, then obviously you're not going to like Apple. So don't judge people for liking the extra effort in making a good-looking machine. If you don't care about the look, then that's fine. I don't judge people that don't own Macs. I think PCs are just fine. I had one for years. I built one, and they're great. But I thought I'd go a different different route this time, and I'm enjoying it so far. But my main criteria was basically needed to be able to browse the web, check my email. I wanted to be able to run any application I wanted to run, which meant I needed Windows. And that was something that really tipped the scales into me getting a Mac, because I could still dual boot and get Windows running on it, which is great. I love having a machine that can dual boot. So once I decided I wanted a desktop and that I was getting a Mac, I was looking at the iMac line, of course, and at first I was like, I want to spend about $1,000, or maybe a little bit more, because I want that display. I want a good looking display with decent specs. And then I was looking at the 21.5-inch late 2013 iMacs, and they had some decent Haswell quad-core CPUs, and I'm like, okay, those are good, but they didn't really have much in the way of GPUs. Pretty much had, your best case was getting a 750M nvidia processor. That will play most games today, but on low settings, and I was considering it for a while. I'm like, okay, it will play them, but it's not going to be what I want. What I really want is going to be in the 27-inch iMacs. And that's what started making me sway over to getting one of those. Not only was it a better display, bigger, I wasn't necessarily crazy about getting the 27-inch display. I was more about getting the higher resolution, getting the expandability. There's instead of having your RAM soldered onto the board, you can open a little door and get to your RAM, and that's way better. So I can upgrade this thing later and get up to 32 gigs of RAM for a while. Any position I can put myself in where I can actually upgrade this thing is better. So I ended up starting to look at the 27-inch iMacs just because of that. And now you're starting to get into even faster quad-core stuff and a little bit better GPUs. They offer the same, pretty much the same 750M, they call it 755M, and slightly better performance. I was looking at that model for a little bit, and I would go to the stores and look at these machines, and I ended up deciding on the one step up from that was the nvidia 775M. Now, that doesn't sound like a huge improvement, but massive. It's like twice, a little bit more than twice the power of the 755M. That 775M has 2 gigabytes of VRAM and a pretty capable processor, and I'm pretty impressed with it. For being laptop parts, it's actually capable of running most anything on full settings. The big drawback, the only thing that really holds it back is the amount of VRAM. It's only got 2 gigs. There is one step higher, and it has basically the same core, but with 4 gigs of VRAM, and that one just cost too much. It was like $400 more, and it wasn't worth the extra price. And I didn't upgrade the CPU. I think the one I got is playing fast enough. I got the 3.4 gigahertz i5 motherboard, no problems. That thing is blazing fast. I absolutely love it. Another thing you get from going up to the 27-inch over the 21.5-inch is a 7200 RPM drive. I didn't upgrade to the Fusion drive or do any kind of flash storage. I just had the base 7200 RPM drive. For me, it works fine. But the 21.5-inch iMac only has a 5400 RPM drive. So when I was looking at the specs and looking into it a little deeper, it became pretty apparent the one I want is the 27-inch. So I get this thing home, and part of the reason I did such an extensive process of going over what I wanted was I want this thing to still be able to play video games. It's not my main purpose of buying this computer. My main purpose is, like I said, general computing, getting on the web. General purpose computing, I do a little bit of light video editing. I like storing all of my photos, all of my music, all of my videos. Everything goes onto this thing. And it needs to be my hub of entertainment, basically. Basing everything I was looking at on 2 video games I was playing again. Battlefield 4 and Shadow of Mordor. And those 2 games, I was expecting Shadow of Mordor to run on medium settings, and I was expecting Battlefield to run on medium settings. So once I finally got everything running and updated going, I got those 2 games and down, got them into the computer, and here's the results I got. Obviously, one of the drawbacks to the iMac is the thermals. It definitely runs hot, but I'm still happy with the one I got, because now, of course, we're in August now of 2015, so they've released the newer generation iMacs, and those are, the top of the line have the 5K, and there's rumors that the new base models, the 21.5 inches, are going to be 4K. And you know what? Honestly, I'm still happy with what I have. I have a beautiful display. It's 27-inch. It's a 1440p display. I totally love it. I don't honestly care about 5K, because what's 5K out there? Not much. I'm not editing like professionally, so I don't need to edit 4K video. So I have no reason to have 5K and like a toolbar on the side, so I can see everything in 4K, and I have a toolbar for the extra whatever. I don't need all that. Honestly, when I game, I'm only gaming at 1080p anyway, and 1440p just looks pretty, I don't need any better than that. And I guess one of the side effects to this Apple going 5K was there were no chips that supported it. There was no hardware out there that supported it. So what they did was they hired AMD to help them develop the technology. Nobody had gone that high. So of course, now that they have 5K, as a result, they're running AMD chips. So you're getting an AMD R9 290X, and that chip is notorious for running hot. It's known to be hot, even in desktops. So they put it in an iMac, which is already, way thin and small, and it's designed to run with NVIDIA hardware. So they just swap out the chips. Guess what? It can't cool. So after like a minute of any gameplay, or even video editing, it thermal throttles and it pulls performance down below this iMac. So one of the great things about this iMac is it does not thermal throttle. It gets very close to its limit, but I mean, I've gamed a lot. I've got 37 hours in Battlefield 4, and I got that thing on high settings, like I said, and it is never thermal throttled. My frame rates are constant, and yeah, no, the thermals get very close, but it does not thermal throttle, and that's a huge plus for me, for this machine. I'm very happy with that. But yeah, like I said, though, that is the big drawback to this machine, is it does run hot, but not so hot that it actually thermal throttles. One thing that I find kind of interesting is Battlefield 4 runs the system hotter than Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor, I'll get around 85 to 87 C on both the CPU and the GPU. You can see in the corner I have a readout. The green text is MSI Afterburner running in the background. And when I play Battlefield 4, the CPU's getting up to about 95 to 97 C, and then the fans will actually kick on and slow, actually cool down the CPU back down to about 90. And it'll just go between those 2 points, 90 and 95. Whereas Shadow of Mordor, pretty much consistent around 85 to 87. Same with the GPU, 85 to 87. So it's interesting that the CPU runs definitely a lot hotter on Battlefield 4. Just something that I've noticed. And it's also really interesting because the system specs, the minimum system requirements for Shadow of Mordor are a lot higher than Battlefield's, which I'm just amazed that it's got higher system specs, but it just doesn't run the system hotter. It must be better optimized. I'm not sure. And another thing, I definitely know, even with the CPU running up to 95 to even 97 C with Battlefield, it won't thermal throttle. I can tell from my MSI Afterburner in the corner there that my frame rate stays solid, and I can actually look at my clock speeds and memory clock speeds, and yeah, it doesn't thermal throttle. It must get very, very close, but it's still rock solid. The clock rates are good, so I'm pretty happy with this machine.